Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. Just got finished dealing with Philly 500 and Dan Saleo. Dan, who, of course, has losing his voice. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. We have a little bit of an update here with Travon Diggs and maybe some really good news possibly. Kind of broke and came out just before I went live with the Dan Saleo show. But Travon Diggs says that he is shooting for week 1 on his recovery, which would be fantastic. Now, for those who don't understand what had happened to him, he ended up getting microfracture surgery. If you don't know what that is basically that is a way of trying to replace your cartilage. If you don't know what your cartilage is what basically keeps your bone from rubbing on bone. I ain't got none in my left knee, and I got bone on bone that's literally grinding down to powder. So what they do is they basically cut a channel in your knee bone. They harvest some cartilage from another location. They grind it up, make it into a paste, and they put it in there with the hopes that the cartilage will grow. The problem with cartilage is cartilage has no blood flow. And so having recovery on this is basically it's kind of has to grow in there. And the thought is that he may or may not be, recovery-wise, may or may not was original prognosis of being ready by the start of the season. Most people thought he probably wouldn't. Now, there has been the Cowboys from the year before weren't exactly happy about his recovery from ACL. They don't think that he'd worked hard enough to get back on the field. There were all kinds of issues with the knee where he never seemed quite right. And, of course, he had to shut it down early. And now he is saying, now this is not the doctors, this isn't the Cowboys trainers, this is Diggs saying that. So where are we? Right now, it's June 11th, 85 days, 3 hours, 2 minutes, and 45 seconds left for him to rehab and be ready to be on the field. It's almost 3 months. That's still a lot of time to do some rehab. Now, I'm going to also say, because I've said this one for several weeks now, it would be miraculous if you see Overshown on the field before Thanksgiving. But I believe that he's going to be back in October. And if those two things happen, things will definitely look a lot different. Now, here's the problem. If the Cowboys believe, and the thing is, I'm glad it was Diggs saying this and not the Cowboys, because the Cowboys are usually more optimistic about a recovery than what usually transpires. If they say it's a 8 to 12 week injury, the Cowboys are going to say 8 weeks, or maybe he'll be back in 7, when it's really going to end up being 16 weeks is when they come back. So the fact that it's not the Cowboys saying that gives me a little bit more hope. The question will be is, will he be ready to come back? As a football player, you always believe that you can play. Literally, I tore my ACL on Friday. Monday, I was trying to get back into practice. Literally. And until they said, man, get your ass off the field. Get that uniform off. I was still trying to, just limping around. Seriously. Limping around, trying to get out on the practice field. So you have to sometimes protect the player from themselves. And it may be that the Cowboys have put so much pressure on him, basically saying you didn't do enough to get your ass on the field, that he's trying to make amends for it, and he may go out on the field before he's ready, in which case then you got another problem that he gets a setback, and then it's even longer. This definitely bears watching and hoping that that's the case. Now, the problem, of course, is if the Cowboys believe that he will be ready early in the season, that may preclude them from saying, we need to get some more help, as in like a Stephon Gilmore. Now, I think Jalen Ramsey was never going to be part of the equation for the Cowboys. It's just great to talk about that kind of thing. And so this is where the Cowboys, I have to be honest with you, I look at it and say, you know, I think that you roll the dice and try to bring in a Stephon Gilmore just as an insurance policy to make sure. And to make sure that when Diggs does get out there, he's really ready to be out there. We don't want a situation like we had last year where he's rushing to get out there like Michael Gallup did, and then he's just never right. Alrighty, good people, as always, I appreciate you guys. We'll have some notes on the Cowboys training camp, what's been going on there. There's been some standouts from Donovan EZ to Dak Prescott to George Pickens, and I got to tell you, I'm getting excited. As always, peace out.